United 2, Everton 0. United end the slide with a scrappy win at Old Trafford. Before we get into everything, just want to say sorry for not dropping a video last week after the loss to Man City. It's I'm team relentless positivity. It's hard to be positive sometimes after a result like that, but that's not the reason why I didn't do a video. The reason I did is because my household, we've all been very sick. I've been dealing with some throat issues, sore throat, voice gone. So it's tough to do a video in those circumstances. Didn't want to try to power through just to talk about how bad we were. But I will say, though, Marcus Rashford, what a goal. Another goal of the season candidate from United. I think him and Garnacho are probably going to be in the top three. I can't think of any, that are much better, but you let me know. Maybe there's something that you want to drop in the comments as someone else who can, win goal of the season besides those two. But yeah, just get into it. United came into today's match after back-to-back losses to Fulham and City with their top four hopes all but gone. A loss today would have essentially put the nail in the coffin on having Champions League football next year, but Everton are the ultimate slump busters. Their last win was December 16th, and they haven't won a single game in 2024 in any competition. Also, their 10-point ban was recently reduced from 10 points to 6, which means they are no longer threatening to go into the relegation zone. So Everton are a team that's essentially playing but nothing but pride right now. And United were the one who needed to pick up wins and to, had something to play for at this time. First key takeaway, job done. It wasn't a pretty performance, but, not really sure what anyone was expecting, given the way the team has performed recently and all the injuries that we have. Sean Dyche is a good coach, and Everton didn't show up and just roll over. They haven't won in 2024, but, they have been playing decently. They pressed high, and they made things uncomfortable for United. But with that being said, United were the most dangerous team in both halves. Both penalties Garnacho won were clear penalties, and Bruno forced a great save out of Jordan Pickford off of that free kick right outside the box as well. On top of that, United created 4 big chances compared to Everton's 1, and United had an XG of 2.56 versus Everton's 1.48, which is higher than I thought it would be. But United were clearly the better team, even if it wasn't the most stylish win. Second key takeaway, Ten Hag ball is still a work in progress. United didn't just sit back and kick it long like they did against City. United did try to play out from the back, and you can see they weren't comfortable doing so. Too many of United players are still very mediocre in possession. Rafael Varane, Casemiro, great players, great careers. They're still a little bit clunky on the ball. Even great, seasons for United. Not playing terrible today, but in possession, playing out from the back, that's just not the strong suit of either of those players. You could say the same thing about Bruno and Rashford, although Bruno to a lesser extent. And Scott McTominay is almost useless in trying to build out from the back, although he did have a few nice passes today. I think the main thing with this team right now is just to focus on getting results. At this point in the season, they're in survival mode. They're trying to get top 4. They're trying to stay in the FA Cup with the big game to come against Liverpool this weekend. And you can expect this team to play the way that they are playing now. Not necessarily sitting deep and only counterattacking. I think that's a one-time thing that you do when you go to the Etihad or you go to Anfield. I don't think they're going to try to necessarily dominate possession against Liverpool or every team moving forward, but I think you're going to see more of the same. They will try to keep the ball. They will try to play out from the back, but they are going to look for chances to get their pacey forwards in behind. Whether it's Rashford, Garnacho, or Højlund when he comes back, they're going to look for opportunities to get those guys into space where they can really create problems for the defense. On top of that, I think having Højlund back and having that target man in the middle, somebody to play off of, that also gives us another opportunity to try to get the ball to someone in possession. But, there were glimpses today. There was Delo, I think it was, or maybe it was Mainu, getting to the byline and trying to cross it. I think it was Delo trying to cross it for Mainu. Ended up getting called offsides, and Branthwaite got the, clearance anyway. But, we are trying to create chances. We just were able to create, on the counter, the quick breaks today, and we didn't need to, stress ourselves and try to dominate possession otherwise. As far as player performance, started at the goalkeeper. Onana was very strong again today. He had a number of great saves. Just, a quick aside, I don't know if you watched the broadcast here in America, but Onana had a diving save in the first half, and the commentary was, that shot was at a very savable height. Pickford had a similar diving save, again, on the Bruno on the Bruno free kick. And it was, amazing save for Pickford. It's just the anti-United bias in the media. It's very annoying at sometimes. Both were great saves. I don't want to take anything away from what Pickford did. But Onana's save was treated as, something that should happen every single time, while Pickford's save was treated as something that was out of this world and, very exceptional. And, it's something that happens all the time. You get kind of used to it, but it's still annoying. I will say that since he returned from AFCON, though, Onana has been very solid. Maybe the odd, thing here and there where you're like, you hope he would have saved that, like the shot against Foden last week, the second goal of Foden's. But he's really been very strong since he's been back, and I'm excited to see him push on and continue to be good, for United moving forward, especially when we can play a little bit more as a team that builds out from the back and is possession-based, and we can push that high line up, and he can be the sweeper keeper, ball-playing keeper that we all know he is. As far as the defense, I thought Delo did well today again. He was very calm in possession. He was good on the ball. He got forward a couple times. He almost set up a goal for Kobe Mainu, I believe. He's just been very good in the last few weeks. He switched over to left back towards the end of the game as well. He's such a valuable player for us right now. Varane and Evans were also solid as a partnership. They're not very young. They're not spring chickens. Evans was subbed off, I think, just because he's older and you got to preserve him on some level. But they didn't have their best game on the ball today. They both gave the ball away a couple times. But defensively, they were immense, and they sniffed out pretty much all the danger, and they were able to get in either for a block or a header to make sure that we kept a clean sheet. I thought Lindelof was okay as well. He actually almost, I didn't say he almost got a goal. He had a nice shot on goal. People forget, when he was at Benfica, Lindelof used to take free kicks for them. He scored a couple free kick goals. So he's technically gifted. He's been playing out of position at left back for weeks now, which is, a recipe for disaster for any player. But, a right-footed center back who's, relatively 2 feet, having to play left back to, help the team. You can't, hurt this guy. You can't, talk too much trash about him. So he did okay for me today. In the midfield, Casemiro, Maino, and Bruno. Again, this is kind of a theme. They weren't great building out from the back. But Casemiro, I thought, was very strong defensively. Bruno was very good in the final third. He scored the first penalty. His passing was dangerous. I thought Mainu, he grew into the game a little bit, and he was a good outlet on the wings, getting into space, getting forward, and helping to relieve that pressure. There was a really very nice play between him and Rashford on the touchline on the left side, where he kind of flicked it to Rashford. Rashford flicked it back to him. He flicked it for Rashford again in the air, and then Rashford flicked it over to the defender, and then and then Mainu was in the final third. It was very technically sound, very cool play between the two of them. And, it was one of the lone bright spots in a pretty much boring game, but, you could see just his quality there. And then in attack, Rashford and Garnacho, they were both, dangerous, doing what they do best, getting into space and running on defenders and threatening that back four. Rashford scored the second penalty with a good take, and Garnacho was dangerous, the whole time. He won both penalties, and he did look like he was a threat to get that third through most of the match. McTominay, not really sure what his role was. He was a defensive midfielder. He was a number 10. He was getting into the box. He felt like he was just a body out there. He wasn't really a great outlet. He didn't do much defensively or offensively, except he did have one nice pass where he played Garnacho in. But other than that, his passing was pretty bad. Amrabat, Antony, and Kambwala all came on and didn't really make a huge impact. So, I don't really think they're worth talking about that much. Moving forward, United play Liverpool at Old Trafford at home next week in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. This is easily the biggest match of the season. A win for United would put them 2 steps away from their second trophy in 2 years. That would be huge for Erik ten Hag, who's been under some pressure lately in the media, unfairly in my opinion, but you never know what they're thinking over there, and if something like this will actually save him or hurt him for next year, if he's going to be the manager or not. Top 4 is looking increasingly unlikely without a lot of luck and a run of bad performances by Aston Villa and Tottenham in the rest of the year, because United have to still play Arsenal and I think Chelsea at home and a few more tough games. And with in the FA Cup, to actually win it, we'd still have to go through Liverpool this next weekend, and then most likely, Man City or Chelsea or both to actually win this cup. I'm not sure even the most optimistic United fan sees that as a likely outcome. But either way, we've got the blueprint now on how we're going to play next weekend. And also, we should have Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Rasmus Højlund back. So, I think that should up the quality of the team, knowing we'll have a striker. We don't have to rely on McTominay quite so much. We have another center back we can play. Evans has been great. Varane has been great. But, it'd be nice to know we can mix somebody else in or make changes just in case we need Maguire coming in, who's actually been pretty good this year. And hopefully, our attack is a little bit less toothless and more dangerous when we have, a striker, a focal point, a target man up there like we had in Højlund in his last few matches before he got injured. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Do you think United has what it takes to beat Liverpool next weekend? Do you think United can make a run for top 4? Either way, get your saying below in the comments. Like and subscribe, and look out for more content in the future. Up the Reds.